I had promised to give you an update of the 2017 elections, and I'm really trying my best to do that, despite the fact that it's becoming increasingly difficult, because now questions are being raised on whether we really had an election or what really did we do, on Tuesday, August 8th, 2017. Okay, history maybe will give us a more accurate view or a more accurate answer to that question. But for now, I'd like to speak to both sides of the political divide, because our country has reached a dangerous place. Our country has reached a place whereby it is very important that we keep our heads going forward. I'll repeat that because it's very important. Where our country has reached now, it's very important that we keep our heads going forward. I will start by addressing the NASA supporters. Okay, now my appeal to NASA supporters is, please be calm. It is not the end of the world. Elections come and go. This is just another election. You are the people who hold the fate of our nation in your hands, NASA supporters. Okay, it is extremely important for you, no matter how painful or no matter how aggrieved you feel, it is very important that we all keep our heads and we remember that we're all Kenyans. Okay, that is my message to NASA supporters. Okay, remain calm, and most of all remain calm because nobody has announced a winner to the elections. And I don't believe a winner will be announced until some critical issues are resolved. Okay, so nothing, hakuna kitu kimeharibika. So I would urge NASA supporters to be extremely patient. I would advise that if you're a NASA supporter, you keep away from social media and arguing with the other side about who won, who did not win, because you see, from my long experience in this life, I've been blessed by God to have been on this earth for quite a number of years. From my experience, when somebody has been aggrieved, that is not the right time to discuss. Okay, so I would urge you to remain calm. Go and do something else. Listen to music. Go to work. You still have to make a living. Try and relax. Okay, the issue is being handled. The people handling this are people who are much smarter than me and you. They know exactly what to look for. Yes, so definitely at the end of the day, a solution will be found. So nothing, hakuna kitu kimeharibika. That is my appeal to NASA supporters. And I would like to appeal again to NASA supporters that the fate of this country is in your hands. If you really love your country, please remain calm. Okay? Now I'd like to address Jubilee supporters. One of the other things I used to do when I was a young person is to play sports. Now when you play sports, let's say you play a soccer game, and then the game starts, and then at halftime what you do, you go and take your opponents, you kidnap your opponents, you tie their hands behind their backs, you remove their right boots, and then you tell them, now we're going to play soccer. Okay, then you play and then you win 20-0. Then you start celebrating your fraudulent victory. That says a lot about the character of a person. A person who can actually go, and the Brits are very good at this because they believe in something called fair sport. Fair. A level playing ground where you win fair and square. It is okay to win, but in my view, if you win fraudulently, you're the biggest loser on earth. Okay? Now, my appeal to Jubilee supporters is do not be fraudulent. Those people who have done this are a few people. Do not join them. And do not give them the satisfaction of celebrating fraud. Okay? Because we're busy in this country always fighting corruption, talking about corruption. Now, I do not want to believe that a huge percentage, millions of voters in this country are fraudsters. I don't want to believe that, because I believe the human being is good. Basically, the human being has got some goodness in them. Basically, human beings are good. They just take in environment, circumstances normally change them and bring in evil into their hearts. Okay, but human beings are good, and Jubilee supporters are good people. So I know that being the good people they are, they will not celebrate fraud. Okay? And also secondly, they will not start repeating the same old tired thing that Raila should go back to Bondo, that is always a crybaby, he loses. No. This time, things are different, because we're not even talking about Raila losing. We're talking about Kenya. Leave Raila out of this discussion. We're talking about fraud. Okay? Now, let's talk generally about what has happened. Yeah, after I've talked to both sides, because it's very important that we're all responsible in what we do. Nobody wants a country to burn. Nobody wants to fight. Nobody wants war. Yeah, that's the last thing we expect in Kenya, and that's the last thing we want. And as I've always said, especially I've been emphasizing these recordings over the last few days, there's no problem in the world that was ever solved by violence. None. Zilch. Zero. Show me a problem that was solved by violence. Hakuna. Yeah, and we'll only solve our problems by using that beautiful thing God gave us, which is between our ears, our gray matter. And we sit down and we reason, yeah, and we find a solution. Now, this morning, damning evidence has emerged to prove that this election, to prove beyond any reasonable doubt that this election was rigged. Okay? Now, I'm very poor at telling people. Somebody even logged in as the late Musando. It's amazing how we're increasingly getting evidence of exactly why and who killed this person. Yeah? That one is becoming very clear as we go forward. Okay? Now, a lot of very dirty, evil things have happened, and the will of the Kenyan people has been subverted. Okay? Now, this information is widely available. I'm continuing to crunch this information and to bring it to you. Yes, in a way that will not, that I want us to engage our minds rather than our hearts. Yeah, so that we understand exactly what happened yesterday. Okay, because it was not an election. What happened yesterday was not an election. Okay, so we cannot pretend to be discussing an election when actually what happened was not an election. Okay, now I know a lot of Jubilee supporters have been telling me that now I have fallen on one side. To be very honest, I really don't care what their view is on this, because the way I was brought up to believe in fair play. Yes, I was brought up to believe in celebrating a genuine victory. Yes, I was brought up to believe that stealing is wrong. Yes, and it does not matter whether you're stealing votes, you're stealing money, it is still stealing, and it is wrong. Okay, I'm not a very religious person, but I was brought up, with some certain rules and standards. Okay, so that one you'll have to bear with me, because I cannot see injustice being done in our country, because you'll rig this election, but what about the next election when me and you want to stand? Yeah, when me and you want to vie for the presidency, what's going to happen to us? Okay, so I have a bigger picture, and I'm looking ahead. Yeah, I'm not looking at the petty tribalism we have currently in the country. The petty my side must win. I'm beyond that. Okay, and I urge as many Kenyans as possible to join me to get a bigger, a more broader picture of what has happened here. To be patriotic, to love your country, and to love your country so much so that you want to see everything done properly. Okay, and that you want to see fair play prevail. Now, there was a question was asked earlier on by a member of Club 1999, which I want to answer in this video. They said that assuming that it's only the presidential election which was rigged, can we say that all the other elections, all the other results were valid? My answer to that is no, and I'm going to explain why. Now, one thing you need to realize is that our rigging has become progressively more sophisticated. Yeah, in 2013, an election was rigged, and when the matter went to court, somebody could not explain how come. Was it 10,000, 20,000 voters walked into a polling station, voted only for the president, and walked out? Yeah, you get my drift. Now it has progressed into something more sophisticated, something more organized. Yeah. Now, for you to rig a presidential election today, it would not make any sense for you to add the votes only to the president. Okay, you'd need to balance it out, because you see, if you add 4 votes to the president, you'd need to add another 4 votes to the member of parliament, 4 votes to the governor, etc., etc., up to the end. Okay, so the fact that we are seeing all this evidence of fraudulent presidential votes means that all the other votes have been rigged. I hope you've understood my answer to that question. In brief, to add votes, you cannot add votes only for the president. You need to add the votes across the board. And then the last thing I'd like to say is that in my view, not all is lost. If you can get the original Form 34As, they were signed by the agents at the polling station, then we'll be back on track. We'll have an election. Yeah, because those are actually the figures that were approved, signed by agents from both sides, and those are the genuine results. Whoever wins, it doesn't matter. If those results show that Uhuru Kenyatta won the election, that is fine. I have no issue with it, and I believe a lot of Kenyans will not have an issue with it. But let us have the documentation. That's really all it is. Okay? So thank you very much for listening to me. Again, I appeal to all Kenyans, please let us be calm. Let us relax. Yeah, we are brothers and sisters. We have a country. Let us not get emotional over this issue. It has happened. It has happened. The Swahili have a saying, maziwa ikimwagika izoleki. Yes, it has happened. Nas has been wronged, but it's not the end of the world. Forgive your brother, forgive your desperate sister, forgive your desperate brother who had to go to such great lengths because they had no other alternative. Okay? Just forgive and forget, and let's move on. Not move on to forget. Let's move on and find a genuine solution to this problem. Until next time, this is Chris Kumekucha.